this is part 2 from my May 2024 past paper question. This is going to be from question 4 to question 6. Okay, so question 4 starts with, a respirometer is a simple apparatus that can be used to measure the rate of respiration in small organisms. A student uses the respirometer to investigate the rate of reaction in some germinating seeds. So we have, okay, So we have some germinating seeds, we have some soda lime to absorb CO2, and we have our colored liquid over here, and this is our scale. Okay, so the first question is, give the balanced chemical symbol equation for aerobic respiration. So aerobic respiration is basically our reactants are going to be glucose and oxygen, okay, and they're going to give us CO2 and water. So glucose is C6H12O6 plus 6O2 to give us 6CO2 plus 6H2O. If you notice, this is basically the reverse of photosynthesis. So photosynthesis would go this way. However, since this question is respiration, we're going to go this way. And everything is balanced. We have 6 carbons over here. We have 6 carbons over here. Over here we have 12 hydrogens. Over here, 6 times 2 gives us 12, so everything is balanced. Okay, the student measures the rate of respiration of a 10 gram of germinating seed at 20 degrees Celsius. They then repeat this with another sample of 10 grams of germinating seeds at 30 degrees Celsius. That's a jump 10 degrees Celsius. The rate of respiration can be measured by recording the distance in millimeters. The bubble of colored liquid moves on the scale in 1 minute. They measure the rate 3 times at each temperature. Explain why carbon dioxide needs to be absorbed by the soda lime when measuring the rate of aerobic respiration. Okay, so first of all, CO2 gas buildup would cause the bubble to not move. So our first point is CO2 gas buildup would cause our would cause the bubble to not move. The second point is we only want to measure oxygen consumption. Oxygen consumption. Next question. Okay, so state how the student could have changed the temperature in this investigation. So this is a very easy question, by using a water bath. Here is a real-life example of a water bath that is used in laboratories. Okay, the table shows the students' results. We have our temperature 20 and 30. We have reading 1, 2, and 3, and we have the mean. Now calculate the mean distance moved by the bubble at 30. Okay, so remember for the mean, we add and divide for the mean. So we have 22 plus 25 plus 24. And since there's no anomalies, we will use them all. So here's our calculation, 22 plus 25 plus 24, all divided by 3, since we have 3 readings. So just putting that in my calculator. 22 plus 25 plus 24 over 3. Okay, and that gives us 23.66. So 23.66, which we can round up to 24. Okay. Explain the effect of increasing the temperature on the movement of the bubble. Okay, so an increase in temperature will increase kinetic energy of the molecules. That's our first point. And our second point is this will increase collision frequency of molecules. Also, for this part, you can mention that this will increase the formation of active sites since it's enzymes. So, and also as the temperature increases, the particles and molecules will move more. So since they're moving more and faster, that means they're more likely to bump each other and successfully collide. And then our third point is that since there's an increase in collision, that means there's going to be an increase in respiration rate. So we will just say, right, therefore, increasing the respiration rate. Okay. Uh, yep, here are our 3 points. We have 1 point from over here mentioning that an increase in temperature will increase kinetic energy. And then number 2 over here is that collision frequency. Number 3 is bringing it back to respiration rate. So that's over here. Perfect. Okay. Question 5. Increased release of greenhouse gases are a threat to many ecosystems. Which of these are greenhouse gases? So we have CFCs, methane, oxygen, and water vapor. Okay. CFCs are greenhouse gas, methane, greenhouse gas, oxygen is not a greenhouse gas, water vapor is a greenhouse gas. So it's 1, 2, and 4. Yep, so that is C. Okay, explain what is meant by the term greenhouse gas. So, our first point is gases prevent heat from escaping, okay, comma, so global temperature will increase. Here are our 2 points. Perfect. Okay. The graph shows the mass of greenhouse gases emitted from 4 sources in the United Kingdom in 1990 to 2020. Calculate the percentage of total greenhouse gases emitted that came from energy. Okay, that came from energy. This indicates that we are going to put the number of gases emitted from energy on top, and then below is going to be our total. So from energy, it is we're going to use this over here. Okay, so from energy, it's going to be 110 over here. So let me put that in red. And then we are going to have to add we're going to have to add all these numbers together. So this is going to be 175 plus 118 plus 110 plus 50. Let's put that up in the calculator. So 175 plus 118 plus 110 plus 50 equals 453. Okay, 453. So we are then going to divide this number and times by 100 to get a percentage. Okay, so you're going to have to do 110 over 453, and then you're going to close the brackets, times 100, which gives me 24.3%. And since this number is a 3, not a 5, it will not round up. Therefore, we will just write 24%. Perfecto. Next question. Okay. So comment on the changes in the 4 sources of greenhouse gases from 1990 to 2020. Use information in the graph and your own knowledge. This is a very important point, your own knowledge. Obviously, use information from the graph as we saw the graph before. So the overall trend was that overall emissions fall. So that's my first point. Overall emissions and then my second point is going to be energy produced most gases in 1990. So let me just put that. Energy produced most gases in 1990. Okay, however, now this is the part where we use our own knowledge. However, if you look back at the graph, you will notice that in 2020 it decreased. So why could it possibly be decreased? Well, you're going to link the question back to renewable energy. So I'm going to say, however, energy So however, the emissions from energy production, just so you know. So however, energy has decreased its emissions. Now this is due to using renewable energy, such as, it's always good to give an example. And then my second point is going to look at agriculture. You can also use any other energy source, but I'll just use agriculture. So agriculture drops from 70, which is in 1990, 90 to 50, which is in 2020. That's just a general trend. And then I'm going to use my own knowledge. So why? So this could be due to less cattle farmed. You know, people be vegan and stuff. So I don't know if that's true, but however, this is one point in the mark scheme. And also this is just focused on your interpretation of data and stuff like that. Okay, now a student uses this apparatus to investigate the effect of light intensity on the rate of photosynthesis in pondweed. Ooh, pondweed is used in a lot of experiments for photosynthesis. Honestly, when I was doing my GCSEs, pondweed was in every single question, even in like the 2018 papers. Okay, let's do some drawing. So over here is the light. Okay, lights goes boom, boom, boom. Then over here is our pondweed photosynthesizing because it's having sunlight, producing oxygen bubbles. Very nice oxygen bubbles. Okay. Okay, so this is the student's method. Put a cut piece of pondweed in a beaker of water. Okay, put a lamp 12 centimeters away from the beaker. Count the number of bubbles of gas released from the cut end of the pondweed in 1 minute. Repeat this count for two more 1-minute periods. The student repeats the method moving the lamp 2 centimeters near the beaker each time. Okay, so basically this question, you need to focus on the light intensity. Obviously, the closer that this moves, the higher the rate of photosynthesis because there's going to be more light. The farther away, the light intensity is going to decrease, therefore there's going to be less photosynthesis, therefore the farther away it is, technically, the less bubbles produced. Okay, and obviously in this experiment, there's going to be a lot of things that have to be controlled because, for example, if you have the sunlight over here, okay, this experiment is not going to work. So I think this needs to be done in like a dark room and there's no other source of light. Okay. Oh, and remember the sun is a non-living thing, so the sun is an abiotic factor. Okay? And there's other things like temperature and pH, which are all abiotic factors. Okay. So, which gas is released by the plant during photosynthesis? Oh, I wonder which plant, which oxygen. Guess what? Why do we love plants so much? Because they give us oxygen. Okay, which of these is the site of photosynthesis in a plant cell? It is the chloroplast. It's not the mitochondria. The mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. The nucleus is site for transcription. Ribosomes is where photosynthesis occurs. Okay, give one abiotic variable that the student should control in this investigation. Abiotic meaning a variable that is non-living. So what's non-living? Temperature. You can also say pH, but just usually just stick to one question because in GCSE if you write two answers for a 1 mark question, they're not going to give you the mark. Okay, so if I got one wrong and the other one is right, they're still not going to give me the mark. So you always have to write, if it's 1 mark, give one answer. Next question. Ooh, draw a graph. Okay, so the table shows the students' results. We have the distance of the lamp, we have our count 1, 2, and 3, we have our mean. So plot a line graph to show the relationship between the distance of the lamp from the beaker and the mean number of bubbles released. Use a ruler to join your points with a straight line. Okay, so the first thing with our graph is you need to analyze your data. Look at the graph good and see what is given to you. So, okay, first of all, they gave me the mean, so I'm just gonna look at the means. I'm gonna ignore this. This is gonna be ignored, okay? Because the mean is what I'm gonna be looking at. And then we have over here the distance and these. Okay, so it goes up in 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Okay, so the distance of the lamp is going to be my x-axis. So you have to write that down. Distance of lamp from beaker in centimeters. Okay, please in your exam when you have your ruler, because this is on my laptop, so I can't get a ruler on it. But okay, first of all, this needs to be in a straight line. This needs to be like when you have your graph over here, just like draw a ruler over here and then turn your paper, draw a ruler and write it neatly. Okay? Make sure it's neat. And then over here on my y-axis, y to the sky, that's how I remember it. Y-axis, you're gonna write mean number of bubbles. Per minute. Okay, I hope you get the general idea because you're gonna have to write it way way more neater than how I did. Okay, so now let's put our numbers. 2, 4, 6, 8. Okay, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Oh, perfect. This will be 0, 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. It has to cover more than 50% for you to get the mark. Okay, and then our bubbles go all the way to 20. So can I say 2, 4, oh, I can't see. Okay, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. Okay, perfect, perfect, perfect. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. Okay, so that means every small cube is worth 0.5. Okay, so at 2, distance from the lamp, so it's at 2 centimeters, it's very close. Very, very close. Okay, it's at 19. So let's go to 2, 19. So this is 0.5, so 19, tick. And then 4 is 15. 4, 15, it's going to be halfway. Okay, boom. Next question. Next point. Okay, 6 is 13. So 6, 12, 13. Boom. Okay. And 8 is 9. Okay. And then 8 is 8. Perfect. Wait. Wait, what did I do? Oh, sorry. Wait. So 8. Wait, 1 second. So 8 is 9. Perfect. That's correct. 10. 10 is 8. 10. Okay. And then 12 is 5. 12. Okay. So they're gonna want you to draw a straight line, boom, covering just a straight line, covering the main points. Okay. Explain the effect of increasing the distance of the lamp from the beaker on the mean number of bubbles per minute. Okay, so as the distance increases, okay, as distance increases, less bubbles are produced. Let's change that to green. Okay, the next point is light intensity is reduced, which means slower rate of photosynthesis. Okay, so for our third mark, this means that overall less oxygen is produced. Next question.